including the entire fuselage and other parts. The company.
The following books, stories, plays, poems, or limericks you will hear on Right Time Radio are the intellectual property of the writers and authors mentioned. Any copying, recording, or reproduction of this work is strictly prohibited without the express written consent of the author.
It's the right time for Right Time Radio. I'm Tom Bruno.
And I'm Lynn Donovan.
Well, welcome to Friday morning, Right Time Radio, 10 o'clock every Friday morning. Today is Poetry Day. Yay! So we have a studio full of fantastic poets. I'm going to just Yeah, let's run around the room and just say hi to everybody.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with Lisa. Say hello to everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
This is Lisa Quinlan over, not me, but that's her over there.
And next we have Sue Haas. Say hello, Sue.
Hello, Sue. Good morning, everybody.
I shouldn't have said it
I didn't
that
do
way.
it for you last time, so I did it this time.
Thank you, Sue.
And Stephanie Acello. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Acello.
And
we have, he's working up to the mic, we've got Tom Peffers.
Hello.
That's all we get. You know, men are short on words, aren't they?
Hello.
Except for you, Tom. You're never short on words.
Just short on hair.
Don't go there.
Okay. Hey, well, I hope that today's show inspires all you poets out there to submit for our next poetry show, which is going to be next quarter. We only do it once a quarter, but we have some great poets and poetry that we would like to jump right into. And we're going to start out with a poem by Lisa Quinlan. Yes, yep. Why don't we just do that, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you do.
This one is called Old Man. I wrote it in Tucson over 30 years ago. I would go to a little cafe there, and this old man came every single morning. And so this is where that came from. At Cafe Olay, a quaint little place of creativity and coffee, I sit facing wood-framed windows, watch the downtown lunch crowd pollute the atmosphere with tension. An old man, back-bowed like a weathered board, shuffles slowly. A broad hat protects translucent skin from a hot sun. Worn shoes and aged bones cannot keep up with the arrogant rush. Ordered coffee is placed by the same hand that demands payment. Trembling fingers oblige. He struggles to a table, coffee slopping into the saucer, splashing on his fingers. The old man sits alone behind a stained cup.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
Yep.
Lisa Quinlan, well, first of all, you're friends of some really well-known singers in this area, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you know?
John Clark.
Yes, he is a crazy man. He's been on this show,
Mark
too.
Gillick.
Yes, which we
Johnny Macias, yeah.
John Macias was
They're so talented.
Yes, and they were at Papa's last night, and they filled the house with unbelievable harmonies and
they're so good.
and the blending that they have between Johnny and Cray and Joanne.
Yeah, it seems to happen natural with them.
I know, and they've only been together for 3 months, so they were kind of like, hey, we're showing up to do a rehearsal at Papa's. Well, okay, and they filled the house.
Wow,
and then tomorrow night, Doc and Kit. Do you know them?
Yes,
too?
Doc and Kit. Mm-hmm.
They're going to be at Papa's tomorrow night.
Nice.
But Lisa, you have a frame shop in Williamsburg.
Yes, custom picture framing. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff there.
Yeah.
So if you need any framing done, and then I'm going to have Lynn introduce our next poet. We're going to go right into that.
Yeah, we have a person who we've had on our show quite a bit because we love her so much, and she's such an amazing writer.
I've never seen her before.
You've never seen her. Well,
yeah, I love you too.
She's behind the scenes at a lot of the dramas that you see in the community theater. I mean, Sue's everywhere.
She's in front of the scenes, too.
This is Sue Haas with her poem, The Old School.
Okay, this actually was written when, like so many schools, the big 3-story brick building had to come down, and our community built a new handicapped, accessible, everything, nice, new, sparkly building. And I was actually walking to work at the new school and had to pass by the old school as I was walking to work. So this is called The Old School. I wonder what the old school thinks as it watches the children pass by, For surely it knows it's the time of the year when its doors should be flung open wide. Chattering groups in bright new clothes hurry past, hardly sparing a glance. And somehow, hurting, the old school knows that forever is gone its chance. No more will they flock to its cheery halls, no more scared, happy, sad, glowing faces. The pencils are gone, the desks, the books, moved to exciting new places. As the yellow buses roll on by, the old school settles into despair. Here's a lonely, echoing emptiness here, where once knowledge and friendship were shared. Opening day, but its doors remain closed as it sits and watches them pass. Is that dew in the windows reflecting the sun, or are those tears on the glass?
Aw,
Yeah, that's kind of a melancholy one.
it's so good.
Uh-oh. You held it together, Sue.
I did.
And I love you.
cried at rehearsal.
All right. Well, let's go. I'm going to introduce this next poem, which Miss Lynn Donovan here, our co-host here, is going to read for us. This one, the author of this this is a short story, not a poem, but we need to get into it because we got lots of poems today, and we're going to just go through them. But here is a short story by Arlene Shovald called "Sticky Situation."
3:00. Time for a cup of coffee and a snack. I pressed the button on my laptop to save the latest edition of my paper, Can Dreams Predict Realities, and headed to the kitchen. The paper for my grad course in transpersonal psychology was due tomorrow, but taking a 5-minute break with a cup of coffee or a walk around the block always helped. A jolt of caffeine or some deep breaths of fresh air activated the thought process. I sucked in the delicious aroma of the favorite hazelnut coffee blend as I poured the coffee grounds into the filter. Coffee always smells better than it tastes. The stuff is kind of actually bitter, but there was something about a hot cup this time of day that just had to happen. A fresh bag of Chips Ahoy cookies were stashed in the cupboard drawer from yesterday's shopping trip, and I was all primed for the crisp, sweet texture of one of those cookies. Pretty darn close to homemade ones my mom used to make. When I saw the little scraps of paper in the drawer and the whole knot in the bag, damn, another mouse. Mice were pretty rare in my apartment, but about once a year, usually around this time, just after the first snowfall, when things were getting a little chilly outside, one or two of those furry little critters managed to find their way into the pantry or the cupboard drawers looking for food or nesting material. Damn, I mumbled again as I tossed the bag and fresh cookies in the trash. I couldn't tell if Mickey or Minnie, whichever it was, it had gotten into the bag, but those critters were full of diseases like hantavirus and tularemia and plague. I wasn't about to take a chance. I knew about that from my medical classes. Mice might be small and kind of cute, but you don't want to have them as roommates. Now, I'd have to do something about traps. Last year, my roommate Carter set traps for me, and we got 2 of the critters, and that was the end of them. I figure mice must have some kind of communication system where they let their relatives know where they're going. And if they don't come back, the rest of them know enough to avoid that place.
Okay, this story is going to get a lot more intense after we come back from these words from our sponsor, Fremont Regional Hospice.
to your family about the medical care you'd like to receive when facing a serious illness? Advanced Care Planning can help you talk about what kind of care is most important to you. Fremont Regional Hospice can help you get that care. To learn more about what hospice can do for you, contact Fremont Regional Hospice at 719-275-4315 or stop by 1439 Main Street in Canyon City. Fremont Regional Hospice, your hometown hospice.
It was the 1970s, and 9 out of 10 people listen to the radio at least once every week. Today, you know what that statistic is? According to Nielsen, 9 out of 10 people listen to the radio every week. Surprise! Radio is full of surprises. Here's another one. Millennials make up the largest group of radio listeners in Colorado. Surprise! Reach 9 out of 10 people with your message on radio. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Brought to you by the Colorado Broadcasters Association and this station.
Star Country 104.5, playing a better variety of country and leading the way in high school sports coverage. Proud to bring you live coverage of high school basketball 2020.
Seconds on the clock. Aragon kicks left side. Caparici. Another three. Switch. Way downtown. Switch. Another Stoner's Rock block three.
And Tuesday night, the Lady Tigers of Canyon City travel to Sierra for a meeting with the Stallions. I'm JJ Valentine. Join us for the pregame show beginning at 6:40 online at network1sports.com and Star Country 104.5.
KRLN weather, mostly cloudy this morning, a 20% chance of some light snow showers. Then partly cloudy, breezy, and colder this afternoon. The high today around 36. Mostly clear and cold tonight, the low near 12 degrees. Partly cloudy and cool tomorrow, the high around 47. 19 degrees was our low this morning after a high of 50 degrees yesterday. Currently 39 degrees at the Weather Center.
Radio 1400 KRLN.
Welcome back to Right Time Radio, Poetry Day. And yet we're not doing a poem right now. We're in the middle of...
With a little short story in the middle.
We're in the middle of a sticky situation here. And back to you, Lynn, for sticky situation conclusion.
And if the mice don't come back for the rest of them, know enough to avoid that place. That was one nice thing about having a guy for a roommate. He knew how to set traps and to pound nails and to put up shower curtains. Stuff I never learned at home. But Carter graduated last spring, so now it was up to me. I poured myself a cup of fresh, hot brew and added a splash of pumpkin spice creamer to cut the bitterness and inhaled the steam. And lost my place. Help me out here, Tom.
We're live, folks.
I know. Here we go, right here. Here we are. I got it. Okay, I'm back. The aroma was almost as satisfying as the swallow, but my coffee break was going to be a little longer than I had planned. I'd had to pedal my cruiser to the warehouse store and find a trap I could manage. Hopefully a live one, since much as I disliked having Mickey and Minnie, whatever it was, dining in my fresh cookies, I didn't like the idea of killing them either. The live trap was a good option, except for the price. Oh, I nearly choked. On my budget, $20 for a live trap was out of the question. The other options was something called a sticky trap. It looked like a piece of cardboard when you pulled the top sheet off and exposed the sticky surface. It was a death trap for a mouse. Its little feet would stick to the paper and there was no escape. It seems kind of inhumane, I said. Sorry, that's all we got, the clerk said, looking rather impatient. I decided he was probably a hunter and didn't much care about killing critters, big or small. Then I'll have to take it, I said. Just before I turned in for the night, I finished off another couple of pages on my paper and on dreams predicting reality, and then stuck the sticky trap in the drawer with the Chips Ahoy cookies and finished out that I had fished out of the trash. They still smelled good. I'd have to buy another bag next trip to the store, but this would make good bait. Turned out Mickey and Minnie were pretty smart. The next morning, the cookies were gone, and Mickey and Minnie left behind disgusting little black poops that looked like pepper. The mouse had managed to avoid the sticky trap altogether. I was about to decide the sticky trap wasn't any good after all, but since it was there, I left it overnight. Next morning, I opened the drawer and stifled a scream. A fat, furry brown mouse, probably stuffed with my Chips Ahoy, was glued to the trap. It looked at me with pathetic, pleading little brown eyes the size of the head of a pin. I felt like a monster. I wanted to slam the door shut, but knowing I had to get rid of Mickey or Minnie, whichever it was, I gingerly pulled the trap out of the drawer and folded the mouse inside like the guy at the store had showed me. The mouse had made a mess of little black poops, but luckily they too were stuck to the trap. It made me kind of sad realizing that the mouse, like a dying person, had released its bowels in a desperate struggle to escape. Poor little thing. And tried not to look at Mickey or Minnie, whatever it was, and put the critter in the Walmart plastic bag and dumped it into the trash outside. I was glad it was cold. Hopefully it wouldn't take the mouse long to succumb to hypothermia. The thought of that poor little creature freezing to death, stuck to that trap, made me feel guilty as hell. I tried to get the mouse off my mind, and I finished up my paper on dreams becoming reality and headed to my night class. The weather had gotten even colder, below freezing, and a light dusting snow was falling. It would have been a beautiful night walking home in the crisp, fresh, cold air with snow falling. It was like a Christmas card, except the thought of that mouse in the trash kept nagging me. It had to be dead by now, not knowing any agony, but I couldn't be able to see if I checked the trash in the dark anyway. Sleep that night was restless. I kept dreaming the mouse was in the trash can, struggling to escape, and somehow transmitted a message to the mice community that it was in trouble. A horde of furry black critters descended on the trash can, somehow figured out how to release their friend, and then planned revenge. I began screaming at the sea of mice climbing on the bed, over and under the covers, their sharp little white teeth shining in the moonlight as they attacked and began gnawing at my face and hair. My scream awakened me, and I sat up, heart pounding, body shaking, dripping cold sweat. It seemed so real. I was afraid to get out of bed for fear I'd step on one of the mice. Finally, I worked up enough courage to get myself out of bed and into the bathroom, looking up and down the hallway to be sure there weren't any. And they weren't. But the dream lingered and I couldn't get back to sleep. Hours passed. 3 a.m., 4, 5. I wanted to go to the trash can and check the plastic bag, but just to assure myself the mouse was there and dead, frozen stiff and gone to mouse heaven, or wherever mice go. But I had to wait for sunrise. I couldn't help but think of my research paper and how dreams can predict reality. The unconscious knows what's coming before it reaches the conscious mind. Of dreams will give us messages about the future. Sometimes it's a symbols, sometimes it's more direct, and sometimes it's simply something called day residue, where you work with something all day and it comes into your dreams at night because you've overdone it and you're worried about something. I remembered the time I picked strawberries all day back in high school. I dreamed of strawberries that night. And yes, it was day residue, but the message was there too. I had overdone it, spent too much time picking strawberries. This time I must have spent too much time worrying about the fate of a mouse. Ridiculous, I told myself. But I kept watching the clock, waiting for the sun to rise so I could check the trash can. I was still in my pajamas as I slipped on my snow boots, winter jacket, and hat, and headed for the trash can in the alley, hoping none of my neighbors were looking out the window. What a relief it would be to see the cold, dead body of that mouse firmly attached to the sticky trap. I could picture it in my mind. I'd breathe a sigh of relief, go back inside and brew myself a cup of coffee, and relax. The Walmart bag was still there, but it was open. Gingerly, I picked it up and looked inside, expecting to find a cold, dead mouse. Instead, there was an empty, sticky trap. Somehow, the mouse had managed to escape, but that wasn't possible. The man at the store told me the sticky trap was sure death for a mouse. There was no way it could be loose. It just took a little time before it would die and be out of its misery. Frantically, I began tearing into the trash, tossing empty soup cans, frozen food containers, and limp salad greens aside, hoping to find the mouse in the bottom of the trash can. I even dumped it over in the snow, hoping the mouse would either be dead or miraculously gotten loose and just need to escape from the garbage can. No mouse. Heart pounding, I scooped the trash back into the can and headed back to my apartment. A high-pitched squealing noise caught my attention. Maybe the electric wires making noise in the cold air? Maybe not. Suddenly, a little brown mouse ran out from under the deck, headed straight for me. I screamed, and it scrambled up my pajama pant leg. I nearly threw up as I caught the mouse in my hand under the cloth and squeezed it until it stopped wiggling. I heard a popping sound. Yuck! The squealing sound was still there, but louder now, and I pulled my pajama leg down and stepped barefoot into the snow. Barely noticing the cold, I shook the squished mouse from my pajama leg and dumped it in the snow. Bending back, I gasped in horror as I saw where he had come from. Under the deck was a sea of little brown mice. It looked like thousands of them. My dream had come true. It looked like the mice really did have a communication system of some kind and were lying in wait, ready to attack. Screaming, I ran into the house, mouse blood running down my leg, and vomited. When I had calmed down enough to talk, I looked up the number of the exterminator. My voice and hands were shaking as I described the situation, and the guy hung up on me. I think he thought I was crazy, and maybe I was, but I couldn't bring myself to go back and look under the deck. But they're there. I know they are. Because then when I opened the back door, I can hear them, thousands of them, squealing under the deck. I slammed the door shut, covering my ears. That was 3 days ago. I'm still sitting here in my chair, my shaking hands covering my ears to block out the sound. I can't sleep because I know the minute I drift off, they'll attack, coming in under the door or in the hole Mickey and Minnie found, any place they find an opening, and then it will be over.
Thank you, Lynn, for reading Arlene Chauval's Sticky Situation. That was actually really creepy and horrifying. I hope we didn't give any nightmares to our listeners.
Everybody in here was looking for a chair to get up in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, and those sticky traps are horrible. I have used them. I used it once and never again. Those are horrible things. Okay, we are at the bottom of the hour and time for a quick break and a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back with more Right Time Radio.
talk to your family about the medical care you'd like to receive when facing a serious illness? Advanced Care Planning can help you talk about what kind of care is most important to you. Fremont Regional Hospice can help you get that care. To learn more about what hospice can do for you, contact Fremont Regional Hospice at 719-275-4315 or stop by 1439 Main Street in Canyon City. Fremont Regional Hospice, your hometown hospice.
Take control of your money with Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace Course, which is a 9-lesson money course that teaches step-by-step how to create a budget, pay off debt, spend wisely, and save for the future. Attend the course on January 14th at 6:30 p.m. at the Seventh-day Adventist Church at 3180 East Main Street here in Canyon City. For more information and to register, please call Dell or Joy Matthews at 719-429-5867. That's 719-429-5867. Be sure to come early to register.
M&M Decorating Center in Canyon City says it's time to think outside the box. From paint and stain, commercial or residential, to custom window coverings and custom flooring. When you think outside the box, you'll have your local M&M Decorating staff to help you solve decorative problems. Don't think big box. Think outside the box at M&M Decorating. They get it.
M&M Decorating Center. We get it.
Hey kids, it's really important not to litter. When it rains, litter gets into our storm drains and is harmful to animals and plants. It all winds up in the Arkansas River, where we and countless others get our drinking water. Never throw anything on the ground or out a car window, and remind your friends and parents too. This message brought to you by the Canyon City Stormwater Program.
Get ready for some football because the NFL playoffs are at Canyon City Mugs, your local sports headquarters. It's going to be a great playoff season since we are now marked safe from a Patriots Super Bowl. Mugs has buckets of beer specials for all divisional games and $2 off all wings and pitchers for championship games. And they're just warming up for their annual Super Bowl party with drink specials, $2 taco bar, and raffles for great swag. Join your friends and share the excitement of the playoff season at Canyon City Mugs. Canyon City Mugs, located right in the middle of town, just south of Highway 50.
Welcome back to Right Time Radio. So we have another poetess in our midst, Stephanie Asello. Welcome, Stephanie.
Well, thank you, Tom.
Really excited. We shared. We were next to you in the booth at the library last time we met, I believe.
Yes, we did. Yes, the Author Day. Yeah,
Author Day at the library.
Canyon City.
So Stephanie has written a book of mystical writings to illuminate your soul called Pour Me Another Cup. And it is a collection of poetic insights and stories that she calls heart writings. And so her book is available on Amazon, and we'll tell you where you can get it locally after she reads a little bit of it. But go ahead, Stephanie. Let's start with Shiny Things.
Thank you, Tom. This came from when I lived back in New York, and I took my son and his friends when they were very young to a park. And I realized they knew a lot more than I did. So, shiny things. Down a dirt path, alongside a lake on a bright autumn day, the discovery was about to be revealed. The children screamed, "Look, look at the shiny things," as they pointed to the lake with full excitement. I looked and I said to myself, what shiny things are they talking about? What are they? Look how they stay on top of the water, screamed the children, eyes wide open. I then realized they were talking about the sun's reflection upon the rippled lake water. I was about to explain the scientific reason for this occurrence and correct them from shiny things to the sun's reflection. The moment stood still. I looked at their faces full of wonder and excitement that I also shared while in search of these shiny things. A knowing washed throughout my body. They are seeing the wonder and magic of life. I am seeing a concept. An insight surfaced. When I think I know something, it stops me from seeing what really is. We all sat by the lake shore and watched in silence as the shiny things danced upon the water.
Excellent, Stephanie. Thank you. This is my favorite of your poems. And It's just interesting how perception, a child's perception, changes the reality of the situation.
Well, you should buy the book, Tom, because there's over 300 of them in the book.
300?
380. Yeah, 380.
Okay. And we can get, as I mentioned before, you can get the book on Amazon.com, but you can also get it at REM, right, on 710 Main Street in Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's Karmic Connections in Pueblo,
Correct.
which is on 125 East Abriendo. Also, I hear you're doing some talks. When are those going to happen?
Well, the next one is going to be in Guffey, the Guffey Library. That's going to be on January 27th at 12 p.m., I'm sorry.
Noon.
I'll be sleeping at 12
Yes,
p.m.
not at noon, but at noon. Yeah.
And the one on February 3rd, I'll be at Barkman Library in Pueblo, and that will be at 5 p.m. And then on the first Friday, I'll be at the Hive. I'll be the featured artist there on Main Street in Canyon City at 5:30 p.m. And I hope to see you all.
Yes, so come on out and see her. You can also get some more information and actually order the book. If you go to her website, she's got two of them, StephanieAcello.com, or the easy one to get to is PourMeAnotherCup.com.
Correct. Thank you.
Awesome. We're going to come back to you, Stephanie, and read another one a little later, but first...
Right now, we're going to go to the one we haven't talked to yet, Mr. Tom Peffers. He has got several poems today, so we've kind of broke them up into a pattern that we think. And the first one actually is my favorite of his poems because, everyone knows I have, 13 grandkids, so I understand the compassion of a grandchild and a grandfather. Me being a grandmother, not a grandfather, by the way. All right, so we're going to go to Hanging with Harry by Grandpa Tom. But Tom, first I want you to tell us, how'd you come by this poem?
Well, my son and his wife both got their doctorate degrees before they had a child. And when they did, they had Harry, born on 11/11/11.
Oh, my.
So I knew I had to come up with something good. So I waited for them to settle in when they got home before I called and got the information about the child. And I asked my son what he was doing, and he said, I'm hanging with Harry.
Yeah,
so
that's
this
too good.
inspired this. And
Yeah.
it goes Hanging with Harry by Grandpa Tom. There's a newcomer in my life, a gift of creation between my son and his wife. So tiny, so precious, and so full of love. What else could one ask for except that it lasts forever? Just to look in his eyes, it's not hard to see that this is the child we'd all love to be. The innocence and the sweetness that fondly exist, a resistance to give him a sweet, loving kiss, a most tender moment we all seem to miss. I'll spend all my days being his friend, teaching him truth, showing ignorance its end. The world is a beautiful place is a message we'll send. Hard work and resourcefulness is our gift we'll defend, helping a short-sighted world from bringing itself to an end. Yet in this universe where there's so much to know, a star going nova, what's in the black hole, a galaxy being born, the streaking lights of a meteor storm. Now in this space where we all exist, there must be a trillion things to do. But as for me, I'm hanging with Harry. That's what I'm going to do.
Fantastic, Tom. Tom, you were born in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 1952, you're not making that a secret, and you grew up on Sugar Island. And I think this next poem is called The Unsung Hero, is based on some of that early life. Why don't you read The Unsung Hero for us?
Okay. You can't see the picture on this poem, but it's me at 4 years old with Johnny Ringo pistols on. And my big brother stole them from me, so I just had the one. And I call this The Unsung Hero. Because when Jesse James terrorized the West, Cowboy Tommy knew him best. Tommy the Cowboy was at his side the day he was shot and the day he died. A man named Wyatt was Tommy's best pal when he shot the bad guys at the OK Corral. Tommy watched as 3 men fell. When the smoke had cleared, Tom and Wyatt together hit the trail. As the singing cowboy come on the scene, Tommy the Cowboy just called him Gene. The man who wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer couldn't be so mean. Tommy and Gene grew old in time. Both sang to their fathers, that silver-haired daddy of mine. Gene is still a hero and a legend of the West. No one remembers Cowboy Tommy, but he was there, and he knew Gene best. Cowboy Tommy was still a boy when another singing hero, a man named Roy, he beat up all the bad guys and turned them straight. If they didn't listen, his 6 guns were their fate. Cowboy Tommy was a hero in the West, like Matt Dillon, the Lone Ranger, and all the rest. With Johnny Ringo pistols strapped to his sides, wasn't one bad guy knew how or where to hide. Then the television clicks off, and Cowboy Tommy's sent outside to play. You can just bet this young Michigan cowboy will be a hero in his neighborhood today.
Great, Tom. You know, Tom left Michigan in 1961 when you were 9 years old, and you ended up living out north of outside of a ghost town called Bonanza here in Colorado. So you actually got to realize this cowboy dream, which is the next poem. Cowboy Dream is about a horse that you actually had.
Right.
And Cowboy Dream by Tom Peffer.
Okay, it's actually A Cowboy's Dream of Gold, but you know how writers are, we change things. Anyway, this is about my horse. It's just a young cowboy driving the herd, singing songs to the cattle without a discouraging word. Dreaming at night of his horse, it was told, whose color was as brilliant as a nugget of gold. Bonnie was a Palomino who stood 15 hands high, with a pride and a spirit no man would defy. She ran as the wind while chasing a stray, bringing it back to the herd, hay and grain her only pay. Bonnie loved a good currying at the end of the day, as the young cowboy whispered to her what a great job she had done. Talking to your horse at the end of the day may not seem right, may not be right, but it's this cowboy's way. Now, a long time ago, Bonnie passed away. As sad as it seems, she still lives in the dreams of the old cowboy who once rode in her saddle so high, now looking to join her, riding herd in the sky.
That is great. All right, we're going to move along because we're running out of time. So we're going to go to Lisa Quinlan, and she's going to read her poem, Sandy.
Okay, my mom worked in a grocery store for a while, and this was a fellow checker that worked with her. And I've known her for many years, going in and out of that store, so I wrote this about her. It's called Sandy. An aging Barbie doll at 41, with polyester clothes pressed and creased, sprayed hair fingered and tucked, walked in every morning to check groceries in a dingy market. She kept a picture wrapped in plastic, tucked safely in her drawer to remind of better days and unfaded beauty. I could smell her lifeline through the peppermint candy, wondered how her wasted arms could lift heavy jugs of milk without breaking. Puffy face made her eyes look worse than sad. The family is angry and confused, but not surprised that she died today with a pocket full of peppermints.
That was great. All right, now we're going to move right on into your next one, Lisa. This one's called Escape.
Okay, this one, we were in a writing group and decided to pick a word to write on, for everybody to write on, and the word in this one was floor. So I built this around the word floor. It's called Escape. Each afternoon, the sun catches her eye and leads her dreamlike across a blown-out field to a homestead cabin recently abandoned by her only friends and the last of their neighbors. The tiny cabin stands shadowed and safe in a grove of lovely trees. The slim young woman steps slowly onto the shiny luxury of a hardwood floor, where yellow light from a west window floods her spot. The room becomes a cabaret filled with loyal, adoring fans. She slips out of a faded print dress, folds it neatly, and lays it in the corner. Slender arms rise to loose, flowing red hair down her back. She stands naked, motionless in the brilliant yellow sun, and watches her shadow on the floor. Then she begins to dance. Her giant shadow dances with her, swaying and bending, long fan-like fingers gracefully open and then close again. Emotion and beauty fill the spotless, clean cabin. Her shadow fades as the sun slides lower. She dresses quietly and carefully closes the cabin door. Her bare feet raise puffs of gray dust as she walks away from the sun toward home. He sits, slouched, an empty jug of homemade beer at his feet, dozing fitfully. He wonders even in sleep if the rain will come in time to save the fragile, struggling wheat. Rough whiskers cover a tired and wind-burned face. She wipes a paring knife on her dress and trims the skin from a few small potatoes, slices them and drops them in a greasy skillet. She walks to a single rough opening into the side of the soddy and watches a woodpecker bang his head against a tree, made ghostly by the last dying rays. She admires a breeze that conducts shadows in a soft, perfect movement. A scorching smell demands her return. The skillet clattering on the stove wakes her grunting mate. He grumbles something about a burned dinner and slouches down again. She looks at him with the used-up sadness in her eyes, then smiles, knowing tomorrow the sun will hold her again.
Thanks, Lisa. We're going to go to commercial first and then be right back with Stephanie Ostello. But Lisa, I think I relate to the woodpecker in that one.
Do you?
Poetry always evokes images, and we'll be back with some more poems right after this.
Hello, I'm Jenny Gatsky, realtor with the Gatsky Homes team at HomeSmart Preferred Realty. If you or someone you know is thinking about buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, please contact us for a free buyer's consultation or home valuation. You can reach us at 719-458-9559 through our website at GatskyHomes.com, on Facebook, or stop by the office at 501 Royal Gorge Boulevard on the northeast corner of Highway 50 and 5th Street in downtown Canyon City. Thank you. This is Jenny Gatsky, your neighbor, your realtor.
Words create a picture of life, life as it really is, life as it could be. And so if you want God to be your treasure, you need a vision of life with God. I want a vision for life with God because I want God to be my treasure, even as I know that in Jesus I am His.
Dr. Michael Ziegler, this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour is brought to you by St. John's Lutheran Church in Canyon City. Listen Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. here on 1400 KRLN.
Are you looking for something but haven't found it? Are you missing something in your life but haven't figured out what it is? Does religious tradition come between you and your relationship with God? We invite you to join us in a new personal relationship with the Father and authentic worship of His Son. At Freedom and Faith Ministries, we are real, authentic, everyday people. All we ask is that you be the same. The person you are all week long is the one we want to walk through our doors. We gather at 10:15 on Sundays in the Rec District building at 575 Ash Street in Canyon City, right next to the Riverwalk.
At Quicken Loans, our 17,000 team members know that home is so much more than a house. That's because our clients tell us all the time. Hey, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, and we want to help you save money on your mortgage with some of the lowest refinancing rates ever. Rates are historically low. You may be able to reduce your rate and save money on your monthly mortgage payment right now. Pay off some credit card debt or put some money towards that new bathroom or kitchen you've always wanted. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%. APR 4.23%. That's right, 3.99%. While we can't predict what will happen in the future, we do know that rates have dropped, and now is the time to save money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn how refinancing now may be the right mortgage solution for you. That's 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates subject to change. Pay 2% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
KRLN weather. Mostly cloudy this morning. A 20% chance of some light snow showers. Then partly cloudy, breezy, and colder this afternoon. The high today around 36. Mostly clear and cold tonight. The low near 12 degrees. Partly cloudy and cool tomorrow. The high around 47. 19 degrees was our low this morning after a high of 50 degrees yesterday. Currently 39 degrees at the Weather Center.
Talk Radio 1400 KRLN.
We're back with Right Time Radio, and we have slipped in a little poem that I actually begged Tom to read to us today. This is an inspiration that came at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So take it away, Tom.
Space, the Final Front Yard by Captain Tom. I'm digging a black hole in my front yard. My reasons are kind of nebulous. I just need some space, man. I can see Kepler, my neighbor, eyeing me through his gravitational lens. I think he's just jealous of my multiverse, or maybe my freeverse, or maybe my 68 supernova sitting on the drive, parked in orbit next to the Galaxy 500 with a warped drive train. My yard is full of space junk. There's dark matter between my neighbors and I. The gravity of the situation doesn't draw us closer. Quantum probability is they'll report me for breaking Newton's law, but like Heisenberg, I'm uncertain. They consider me a variable star. Sometimes I'm the red giant and they come by for my autograph. Sometimes the white dwarf and they hide their hobbit plates. It's a real galactic cluster. I got too hyperspaced at last night's block party. My head was in an Oort cloud. My temples still pulsar. And at the day-night Terminator, I orbited the porcelain gravity well like a green moon. I groan. I think I called the host a wormhole. No wonder he kicked my asteroid. Doesn't any matter. As I stand on the event horizon, looking down into the heavy emptiness of space, I think I'll go get my gamma ray gun and reach escape velocity and go out with a big bang.
Awesome. I love your inspirations at 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's a little twisted.
All right, we are coming back to Stephanie Ocello, and she is going to read Letting Go.
This heart writing came from spending a lot of time in nature back in New York and Colorado and any place else I was at. And I just realized everything, flowers and trees and everything, just is. They just is. Letting go. Letting go is the laying down within the palms of the universe and not to take on the burden that is not yours. Look all around, the intricate doings of nature and humanity. The flower does not think about blooming, it just blooms. The clouds do not think about moving with the wind, they just move. The birds do not think about singing their songs, they just sing. The body does not think about breathing, it just breathes. The same applies to the Earth orbiting the sun and the moon orbiting the Earth. They just orbit. And the same applies to you. There is a divine intelligence that is directing every particle of matter in a symphony called life. To think we are bigger than that is totally crazy.
That's great, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Now, Stephanie practices the principles of Raja Yoga while living within the community yoga ashram. Did I say that correct?
Right, that was the past. Yes, the yoga ashram. It's a community where you learn yoga.
Okay. She has taught workshops and conducted heart writing readings in Colorado and New York, and we already told you where she's going to be doing some of that recently.
Thank you.
In the future, that is. She lives in Colorado with family friends and her family gurus. I love that, her animal gurus. I think my animals are gurus too. Again, you can get her writing. It's published in a book, and you can get it at pourmeanothercup.com or stephanieocello.com. You can also get it on Amazon. So we're getting short on time, Tom, so let's move on into our other Tom.
Thank you. We're going to go back to Tom Peppers. Tom, we've told him a little bit about his past and moving out to Colorado. The next 2 poems, though, are more of more allegories, more analogies, I guess. That's the right word. But go ahead, Tom. We're going to talk about A Teardrop.
Okay. I've written this kind of for one of my sons who was going to a meteorology school. And I thought about how everything erodes through time and things either come or they go. And I just wrote a teardrop. As a teardrop, I've wept upon the earth, millennium for millennium, eroding through time for all time, creating all there is to all there will ever be, never-endingly weeping life to life, whatever its joys, weeping on the land, flowing to the sea, a teardrop returned to where it came, to weep again when there needs to be.
Really good. Thank you, Tom. And let's go to another one by you, Golden Autumn Memories. Now, I'll let you introduce it.
Okay. I took a picture of the Riverwalk in the autumn, one of my favorite times. And I was thinking over all my autumn memories. And I just happened to have been 60 years old when I wrote this. And it says, as my 60th autumn approaches, again, I feel the cold. My heart that once searched for the warmth of a youthful love itself has now grown old. Yet warm are my memories that refuse to abandon me. That pot-bellied stove stoked full of coal, giving heat through the night with a warming red glow. Memories of Lake Superior, the first autumn of my life. Maple trees so beautiful, the colors they adorn, make it hard to believe how cold it will soon become. The memories of awakening to the bite of frost on my skin, when my brother steals my blanket again. A memory easily replaced by the smell of morning's warm, fresh baking bread, that butter-melting kind. The only memory of my grandma that hasn't slipped my mind. Those who gave me hugs and kisses that once warmed my soul. Now just names carved on stone I no longer know. This has become my time and place of reconcile, a time to reflect on my memories for a while. When my last autumn comes and my name's on that stone, then as the warmth leaves my body, so my memories will also go. The only memories I leave behind should be the loving ones that only my closest friends know.
That's awesome.
All right. You know, the interesting thing about poetry and why we do these poetry days is poetry is so diverse. You can have everything from these very touching poems like we do one, Golden Autumn Memories, and inspirational ones like Stephanie, and then some cowboy poetry, and although that's not exactly what Lisa got to read today. And then they can be whimsical, Sue Hawes, and then mine. But we're going to end with one that's kind of humorous, and the one that you poets out there, when you're sitting in that chair and you don't know where to go with your poem, you might relate. And Tom Peppers is going to grace us with this last poem that I think you're going to really relate to, all you writers out there.
Oh, this is going out to all you writers who's ever suffered writer's block. I once knew this poet who had writer's block. For days and days he stared at his clock. He thought for so many days. His mind exhausted, slipped into a haze. Then he scratched his head as he went back to bed. He couldn't sleep a wink all night. Yet with his pen in hand, he could not write. Then this crafty poet knew what to do. He wrote about his writer's block. Now he's reading it to you.
Slam.
I love that. That's awesome. It's a perfect note to end on, right? But listen, if you've gotten over your writer's block, we want you to send stuff into us, and that is write, W-R-I-T-E, at gmail.com. So send us, even if you're just interested and you're not sure what to send in, send us an email and let's talk about it. We are happy to talk with you about what all you have and what all we can accept for the show. Now, if you really like this Poetry Day, you notice we had another Poetry Day a while back. We will have another one, and that will be April 10th. And some of these very same poets will be back because we weren't able to get all their poems in today. Yeah. And so we promised them they could come back, and we'll do that on April 10th.
Okay, and I just want to thank by name Tom Peppers, Sue Hawes, Lisa Quinlan, and Stephanie Acello. Thank you all for taking the time out to come in and be on our show.
Yes, thank you, everybody. See you next Friday at 10 o'clock. Oh, we're told to keep going. All right, keep going, Tom.
Okay.
Well, if you want to hear this show again, it will be on later on this afternoon on our website, and that is righttimeradio.my-free.website. So yeah, and I'm the only one that can say it. So
yes, she does it
because I'm the one that works with it all the time. And you can look on there and you can see who our next guest will be. You'll see a guest spotlight. You'll see a schedule, all that stuff.
And we are looking for new writers.
We do want new writers.
Yesterday, I met a wonderful writers group at the Florence Fremont Public Library, and it was led by a lady named Vaughn. And really excited that she is going to be having her group submit some stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to get a hold of them and have them submit some stuff.
See you next week.
See you next
10 o'clock.
week, 10 o'clock.